Shoot the breeze. Topic number 5 is there extraterrestrial intelligent life on Earth? This came with a link. Looks like it's taking us back to Twitter. On Twitter, there's a tweet from Pump that says, wow, a witness just testified in front of Congress that the government has recovered quote-unquote non-human pilots from UFOs. What a time to be alive. Let me see. I can't tell how long it is. Oh, it's a 40-second video. I'll play it twice, and then we'll discuss it.
It's who piloted this craft. Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent?
Okay, so I thought maybe it might have been a thread, but it's not a thread. Sister Raw is here. I haven't seen Sister Raw here in a little minute. She says them trying to, though, the heat off, to, I guess, throw the heat off of the many. Raw, I need you to write that a little bit clearer for me, huh? But she said, greetings to the yard. RBG in the chat said this is a farce. Afro Native World says there's a 2-hour video of this on NBC's YouTube channel. I did see some of it. Carl Hezekiah is there. Piece of Carl Hezekiah. He says maybe, but I think this is a distraction. So the prompt says, is there extraterrestrial intelligent life on Earth? Let me hear from RBG since he said it was weak sauce. RBG, what say you?
Yo, this is just, wordplay, like epic wordplay, yo. Like there's no UFOs, yo. I mean, the way the answers is just so is like each word. We talk about propaganda, right? You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand like the language, you understand like parts of speech and all that good stuff that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people don't really study in school, don't really want to break down the language that we're talking about. I mean, craft, look, I'm about, you know what I'm saying, what I just put in the chat. I'm gonna just say it. This is the etymology of craft. Craft just means power, physical strength, might. A piece of metal, from, you know what I'm saying, that, you know what I'm saying, comes from the asteroid belt or whatnot, is, you can say that is craft. And if you have amino acids, which can be found, you know what I'm saying, out there, you know what I'm saying, in all kinds of stuff out there in space, the same kind of amino acids that, you know what I'm saying, make up people and whatnot. I mean, that's just weak sauce, yo. They ain't talking about no actual humanoid types. So they're just using wordplay, yo, straight like that. If you break down each word and what they saying, and you understand what the words mean, ain't no UFOs. Period. Straight like that. I ain't gonna waste no more time talking about it.
All right, thank you for that, RBG. Kevin Carre would say.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sister Raw and Kyle Ezekiah. This is a distraction. I call this as again propaganda, as the last person just spoke. This is propaganda. What are they hiding? I call this a red herring. Just throw it out there, like, hey, let the public discuss it. Oh, we have an extraterrestrial. Look at what's going on in like the past month of what's been going on in the world. Who cares if there's extraterrestrial? I don't think they want anything to do with anybody on this earth, man, especially the U.S. And if the U.S. had aliens, you would never know. You would never know. I just call BS on this. I give this a thumbs down, man. But I'll pass the mic here.
Well, to you and RBG, Kevin Carr, you guys telling me y'all think we're the only intelligent beings in all of the many universes there are?
No, I believe there are more, other intelligence and living beings in other part of the world, and I would think that they have a much more advanced technology. I think they're here already and they're amongst us, but with more advanced technology. That's all I gotta say. But as I said, what this is going on, there's something else that's really, really brewing in the background that no one is paying attention to, or we're just overlooking at this point.
Hey, can I say, a lot of like ET stories are it's like a throwback to the old angels coming from heaven, yo. Hey, that's all it is. It's just a throwback to angels coming from heaven. You know what I'm saying? It's just a spin on you know what I'm saying, like ethereal stuff. As far as the question, do I think there's like intelligent, look, I mean, you got to talk about heavy physics. I mean, you gotta break like the whole speed of light and understanding distances. Like when we see stars, we're seeing the light as it came from those points. So stars, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions of years ago. So I mean, if some people, however people feel about this earth and how long it has or has not existed, some people might say the earth is 5 billion years old, right? So I mean, it took so long for, so we're here right now, alive right now, so-called intelligent, right? So if we can't see nothing within, whatever we see is light coming, it took the light that long to get here. I mean, I don't even worry about it. I personally don't. I mean, as African people, it'd be nice to get to the moon, yo. You know what I'm saying? To get on top of the moon and be there and then take some of the moon rocks that have some nice position on stuff. But I mean, besides that, yo, I mean, I see what these white people are talking about moving around in space. I'm not going to give them too much credit. I'm not going to underestimate it. I'm not going to overestimate it. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole movie called Elysium where all the rich people wound up in space and all the poor people on Earth. You know what I'm saying? I give it no credence. There are no ETs. You know what I'm saying? If ETs around and they see the black people getting treated and they so intelligent, they can't understand balance within, a structure, you know what I'm saying? I have no time for it. That's all.
One more thing. He made a very good point about angels. If y'all remember, old enough to remember this episode of The Simpsons where they're building there's some site they're going to build a mall at. And they were digging up the ground and they found a skeleton with wings on it, and they were debates for weeks. There's an archaeologist. You got to keep him in mind. He was like, okay, I'll analyze this fossil. So it was as I said, there was debate for weeks. So come to find out in the end, everyone's gathered at the site where the angel is, which is still there. All of a sudden it rose, right? It started to glow and it got pulled back. He's like, hey, come to this mall. It was like a big build up. I said propaganda to advertise a new mall. It was about nothing. Take a look at that episode. You'll see what I'm talking about.
I appreciate that. Let's welcome in our boy Bakari this week. Brother Bakari, how are you this week?
What's up, man? I'm great. How about y'all? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for letting me up here.
What are your thoughts on this?
Go ahead. What's that?
No, I was just asking you, what are your thoughts on this? Say what you were going to say. Go ahead.
No, I was just going. Yeah, first I want to explain what Raw was saying. They trying to take the hate. They are trying to throw the heat off of them. A lot of people know who they are now. That's what she was saying. Come on, man, you supposed to know. But that's what she said.
I got it, but it just was it was a bit much to read time. Go ahead.
I got you. Well, really, me personally, do I think there's aliens? We see them every day. What kind of aliens? The illegal aliens? But do I think there's other? Do I think there's other like different species of life like us? No, I don't. Do I think there's other intelligence on Earth? Yes, we see animals all the time. Animals are extremely intelligent. I just think there's some white people fantasy shit, and pardon my French on your panel, I'm sorry. I think there's some white people fantasy stuff and black people fall for it. It's just something to talk about, and, and it'll keep you going. And, and in the black YouTube world, this is something that could very well start a debate series, like they would debate, is the earth flat? Azuli put in chat, the moon is fake. I know he's clowning, but in a lot of these so-called conscious black YouTube spaces, saying the moon is fake, and I remember this guy, they did a debate on milk. They literally did a debate about milk for about 3.5 hours. So I just think this is just something they doing. I've never seen it, so I ain't going around saying I believe it. And this is what I tell a couple of people. I'm gonna say this, and this I'm gonna close. I've heard people say they believe in other life out, especially after the government said Elijah, somebody allegedly said Elijah Muhammad was right about the mothership. Shit, the mothership started, what they called it, the mothership was having baby. They were spitting out baby ships. Like what? Like what? It's just, to me, it's just funny. I ain't never seen it. So if you believe in these things, I tell folks, don't question nobody who believe in Jesus and Allah and the flying donkey to come save you and the sky cracking, because just like they ain't never seen Jesus and Allah and none of them, ain't never seen none of these aliens people talking about either, other than the illegal aliens. My bad. On that, I hear the fight.
I appreciate
Brother,
that.
I had illegal.
Say that again.
No, I'm not illegal. No, Brother Bakari, I didn't show up last night because my woman had, she said she wanted me to pay her some time. So, I mean, give me a, next Friday. But yeah, I'll entertain the extraterrestrial conversation for a minute. I'll just entertain it for a minute. So on a scientific level, if intelligent creatures, species, or extraterrestrial will have the ability to be able to travel the seas of stars, right? To come to this planet called planet Earth. First of all, they would be more like thousands of years ahead of what we have here on Earth. Thousands of years, right? So they would see us like not only primitive, but we would be like apes to them. You know what I mean? We would be like gorillas, so backwards in how we would do things. They would come here as conquerors, like Christopher Columbus coming to the New World. You know what I mean? They would come here as conquerors because their technology would be so far advanced. We don't even have the capacity to get to Mars yet. We still, trying to get to the moon on a certain level. This is how far humanity has got. We ain't get to the ability to even go to another planet within our own galaxy. So if an alien have the ability to pass galaxies and seas of stars to get to the planet Earth, their capacity, their technology would be so far advanced, they would be looking at us like we are the new Arawak Indians. And they would only come here to dominate us completely. and we would have nothing to say or do against them. So I think like Carl, like this is a complete distraction because the science don't back it up. It's nonsense. Why would they live among us? It's like, I mean, really, they would be so far advanced, but on a scientific level. But
But
I think that, yeah,
Juana, I think
yeah,
you're ascribing earthly attributes to a potential alien race. Maybe they're not like us, where everything means that you have to come and dominate.
that's true too. That's true too. That's an absolute fact too. But I just think that their technology would be so advanced they would look at us like hairless apes, making human noises. I think that just on the technology alone, they would be so far advanced. We would look like we are cavemen to them. You know what I mean? So this is the reason why I don't get in these kinds of dialogues because I like to deal with issues and problems that we face currently here on Earth. These people going off on planetary discussions and ideas or whatever. Go give the Black Americans their reparations. Deal with that. Deal Go deal with fairness on that level. You know what I mean? Stop going to the stars and outer space. Deal with people on the planet right now and the issues that the human beings are facing on the planet Earth right now. Stop going off into the stars. It's nonsense. I feel like it's a distraction. I think that Joe Biden and them don't have nothing more to talk about and discuss. They ain't offering nothing. They're just trying to buy their time to go back into office right now. And I think that there are other pressing issues to discuss as opposed to bringing this whole idea extraterrestrial beings. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. How can an extraterrestrial being help me right now on planet Earth? Because even if he is here right now, he hiding himself. You know what I mean? He ain't proven existence here on Earth. Come on, man. Deal with the problems that exist here right now. That's the issue I have with these so-called councils and congresses that come together to talk about madness. It's madness to me. But I'll stop there because I'm rambling.
Yeah.
And let me say this right quick. The further proof, ain't nobody seen none. White people ain't went to war with them. If they were here, white people have went to war with them. They don't went to war with everything else. They ain't know.
Unless I'm just being that guy. Unless white people are benefiting from it, maybe that's the sci-fi in me, but unless they're benefiting from it, because a long time ago, Urzuli was on the panel, and we had a kind of a joke about it, like, what do these folks know? What did they get that gave them that advantage? I'm just saying. I'm being that kind of advocate. By the way, shout out to Marcus McGee out there in the chat. He's here. Buana's out there talking shit. I'm sorry, Azuli's out there talking shit to Buana. Of course, I said Sister Jose is here. He said he's seen a lot of extraterrestrials in Africa and the Netherlands. With that said, let me welcome in our boy Carl Hezekiah this week. Carl, how art thou?
I'm doing well, Coco. Hope everyone's doing well also. I'm kind of catching the tail end of the show, but this is an interesting topic. Now, I can't discount the existence of extraterrestrial life. The Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, meaning light years is a measure of distance, not a measure of time. So basically, a light year is basically the distance that light travels within a year. So just our galaxy alone is 100,000 light years. So that means traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 100,000 years to get from one end of the Milky Way galaxy to the other. And that's just our galaxy. So to think that there is no life out there, I can't say that without a doubt that it isn't. But has it come to Earth? Probably not. And this whole thing about UFO, it really is a distraction because Americans are really dealing with a lot of pressure as far as our economy, as far as our health, as far as the climate. It's a stressful situation. And this is really just a way to, hey, you know what, you can't afford a house. You can't save money for an emergency. Student loans about to come back, put a lot of people back in debt. But hey, as aliens, that's cool. That's something, just a distraction to keep people's minds off the real pressures and stress that we're under in this country. And if you look at the UFO sightings, most UFO sightings are where? United States, uh, Western Europe. You don't really see too many UFO sightings outside of the United States or Western Europe. Every now and then they mention, you might see an alien, but it's normally white people who see aliens. America is just not that important. They only make up 5% of the Earth population. Why is it these extraterrestrial beings who come from across the stars only want to show up for white people? It's a mass psychosis, sort of like the Salem witch trials, or back in the 1930s, they did a radio reading of War of the Worlds, and everybody thought they were being invaded by Martians. It's not real, any true evidence of any extraterrestrial life coming to this planet. Even the whole thing about the UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico, back in the 1940s, it turned out it was a spy balloon that was sent to spy on the Soviets. But they said it was the whole theory of this alien crash in New Mexico, and they got the pilots and whatnot. People are watching too much science fiction, too much Star Trek and Star Wars or whatnot. At this point, the way Biden and the rest of this country is being fucked up, I wouldn't mind some aliens coming by. Let's see what they got to offer. Maybe they might have to offer a better deal than what we're getting right now. Let's see what the aliens got to say if they're really out there. But I don't believe it's really just a distraction from all the fucked up shit that's been happening and is going to continue to happen in this raggedy country. All right, thanks. I'll pass the mic.
I appreciate that. We got a couple people joining us. Let's welcome in Jose. Jose, what say you? How are you this week?
I'm okay. I'm sleepless, and I'm listening to all these brothers being sure that it's
Jose, I think you cut out.
a whole lot of it is in Africa. To start with, the Cape Verde Islands. My parents speak of Knilinga. That's how they call these beings, Knilinga, and it means shin. And Inga is like making it small, so it's small shins or narrow shins. And what they describe as being Knilinga is what the West describes as grays, right? So big heads, big eyes, a small mouth, and thin limbs, right? And they even describe abductions. They take you and they give you back, and you will never be the same. Is their description. Of course, Christianity has done some damage, and they parallel, or they compare it to witchcraft, right? But what they describe is exactly what grays are. That's one. That's not my personal experience. My first personal experience was in July 2008. A Palestinian friend of mine, the day before, was at anniversary, and people were not allowed to smoke inside. So the whole anniversary, there were people smoking on the balcony, joints and cigarettes, and they saw lights, or one light moving. Well, how he described it, it couldn't be a satellite, because a satellite makes one. Sometimes you can see it, and you can see them, and they make one line, right? And they move quite fast, but it's a teeny tiny star. It's the reflection of the sun on the metal or whatever, and it makes one straight line. And what he described was not one straight line. So that day that he was with me, in those days I was very depressed, and so he came to pick me. He came to drag me out of the house and, yo, let's go skate. And it's a 20 kilometer to the beach and back. And so we did that trip, and on the way back I saw a satellite. The sky was clear. I saw a satellite, and we are close friends, so I pulled his head literally against mine to have his eyes behind my pointing fingers, and he didn't see it. So he really was expecting something else. About 400 to 500 meters ahead on the road, there it was. You say, look, that's it. I looked up, and it looked like one of the largest stars came down in the time that you say whoosh. It was at about 500 meters above us, and I mean, even Einstein's theory of light traveling. He got a theory of light having a constant speed. Well, I saw Doppler effect on light. So as it approached us very fast, the whole area was like lightning white, right? When a lightning strikes or a flash of a camera flashes, it's so white that it has a little blue in it, right? So that's blue is one of the fastest colors in the spectrum, right? So it came down to about 500 meters, and it started slowing down, and it traveled like a small boat on high seas. So large waves and a small boat. I hope you can imagine what I'm talking about. And it moved to whatever that it was, a concert or a drag race, about 2 kilometers left of us. So it stayed about 10 seconds above this event, and then it shut off. And how it shut off, it went red. So red is one of the slowest lights in the spectrum, and it looked like a square divided into into 4 squares. Excuse me. So there were 2 lines across, and the light was so bright I couldn't see if there was a craft or whatever. So it was a 2D. What I saw was 2-dimensional square, right? That was my first experience. From that day, it's a life-changing event. We expected the next day the papers, radio, maybe even television. We expected it. There was nothing. I mean, when it approached, when it came down, I mean, it was so bright. Even villages kilometers away were visible and had that white light on it. So we expected the next day to be, well, world news. There was nothing. But as it is a life-changing event, you keep, from that day on, I keep on looking upwards, right? That's one experience. Another one is in 2013. If you remember, there was this meteor rain for 3 days, right? And a friend of mine used to come and smoke at my home. He saw it in the news that there would be 3 days of meteor rains, and he proposed, okay, let's sit on your balcony and watch it, because I'm moved now, but I had a clear view, nothing blocking my view from one side of my balcony, and I have there's a how you call it, where planes land and depart, airport. I have an airport nearby, and it's only one runway. So planes approach at a certain angle, and the headlight doesn't flicker. right? If you see a plane up high, lights flicker, but the headlight doesn't flicker. So this light was coming at a different angle, and it took very long for it to arrive in comparison to normal planes. And so when it arrived, it was like it looked like a lamp that my parents used to have when I was a kid, that my parents used to have in the living room, and it's like a lotus flower, but the lamp was upside down, right? This thing was like a lotus flower. It was milky, like milky glass with lights pulsing inside of it. It flew about 50 to 100 meters over my house, right? It was about, let's say, 5 to 10 meters across. It wasn't that big, but at the top of it, it looked like Manhattan, right? It looked like Manhattan. There were things sticking out, but also horizontally. So not only upwards, but also horizontally. And again, it flew in the direction of downtown. And with I expect that not only us two were watching these 3 days of meteor rains. So we expected the next day to have more people seeing it. Again, nothing. Another one here in Senegal, in the south. I'm now I'm in Dakar for business, and that one, it was in the south. So it was 2012. I was handing over a motor taxi. I had bought a motor. I was renting a house. Expecting a lot of things with a girl, marriage, and etc. And it didn't work out. But I handed over the motor to her, and I had to tell the guy that was driving it. And me and that girl was sitting like these in the village. These houses have like a thing around the house for various reasons, but it's like a bench. So me and the girl was sitting. This guy was playing soccer with a couple of friends, and there were about 8 of them, and a thing flew by, and it was not up high like these orbs that you see a lot if you look up. It was not like an orb far away, but it was quite close, and there was a form in it, and I stopped talking, and I said, "Guys, is that an airplane?" They turned around, and all together at the same time they said no, and they started laughing out loud for saying that at the same time. I mean about 8 guys, it indeed it was funny, but they all stopped watching. I kept watching. A thing opened, right? It looked like the old Japanese flag, but with a little bit of a swirl in it, and it was not red beams, but it was like manga flames, right? Excuse my description, but that's how I described what I saw. It opened, and it was like I saw another universe with stars. The thing went in, and that gateway, whatever, closed. And speaking of gateways, on the Cape Verde Islands, where these lights were seen a lot, that canyon is called Window, Janelle. So I mean, these things. I watch a lot of scientific shit, and if you people know Nassim Haramein, he has shown footage of crafts flying into the sun, and his explanation. He's a mathematician, and his explanation is like these things use heavenly bodies as hubs. So Einstein has this theory that you can bend space-time, and instead of traveling 200,000 light years, you can make a small leap if time space is bent. So I am guessing that heavenly bodies are hubs where time and space come together. We live at the surface, so the event horizon of this heavenly body. So time exists here. We are locked into time because we live on the surface of a heavenly body. But if you live in space, if you are in space, not on the surface of a planet, what does time mean? I mean, we turn the planet turns around the sun, the planet turns around its own axis, and all that makes time a reality. But if you are in space, what does time mean, right? So yeah, that's it. I believe heavenly bodies is where time space comes together, and I believe those things use heavenly bodies as hub. I mean, I can go on. These are just examples.
Well,
Next.
Joseph, I gotta go on to the next.
Yeah. Go on.
We only have about 12 more minutes. Let me welcome in Marcus Garvey. Is the way. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you this week?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? It's
I'm
good
good,
to hear
thanks.
everybody's
What say you?
voices. Okay, I'll
Good
keep
to hear.
it brief. I'll keep it brief. Coco, I agreed with what you said initially, where our concepts of their interactions with us would be like when one is explaining it, he's explaining it within our human concepts. So I agree with you that you got to think outside the box if you are thinking of aliens, in concept. And Jose, I do believe what you said makes sense. Like, okay, on a planet, yeah, you have time constraints, but outside of space, it's an interesting concept. Yeah, outside of space, time doesn't work the same because on Earth it's 24 hours, but then if you go on Jupiter, the rotation of the sun and the rotation on the axis is different from Mercury or whatever. So yeah, that's an interesting concept. Time varies from where you are. However, I realized I kind of caught y'all near the end because I've been catching y'all for weeks, but on and off. Um, I don't think anybody mentioned this, but we do have people who claim to be aliens among us in Africa, and I think nobody noticed that the Dogon has said that they are not from here. So I don't know if anybody brought that up, but the Dogon said they were from Sirius B. They are able to tell you about the planet. So are aliens here? According to the Dogon, yes. I mean, they're old civilization. Our concept of aliens is, Star Wars, shiny, bright, glittery, turbo booster engines and warp speed. But that cannot be it. You get what I'm saying? Like, nothing is wrong with living in a mud hut if that is what your planet survives on, like living in tune with nature. Maybe every planet doesn't have warp speed and whatever. So if the Dogon came here and they didn't come with, laser weapons and all that stuff, and they claim that they came through basically a doorway, basically stepping through a doorway. If you watch what's this guy? Search for Uhuru. He spoke to the Dogon. Yeah, if y'all can catch up on that, where the Dogon was explaining how they came here, at least in concept and mythology, I guess, or word of mouth, how they came to the planet Earth. So I don't think we should limit, as Koku said, our interactions with supposed aliens as just Star Wars concepts. You have to think of every planet as limitless. So our interactions and any possible life form should be limitless. I don't even think that water has ever and should ever be the only measure of does life exist. Again, that's limited within our confines of this planet. I never thought that made sense. Like, if there's life on Jupiter, we wouldn't know because we assume that there's water. But who says life has to have water? You know what I'm saying? So that's my contribution.
Marcus Garvey is the way I like a few things you said there. They've discovered someone has noise going on. Have to mute your mic. I hear pots and pans and all kind of things.
Oh no, that
but
was ice in my glass. Sorry.
Okay. They've discovered what they call those again? A super Earth, I think they call them. And one of them apparently like one of these planets, like it rains diamonds and all this kind of stuff. So we can't hold or judge extraterrestrial life based on our thing, right? Like you said, there's limitless possibilities. The other thing you said, I think, is very important too. And this goes back to even the Afrofuturism discussions and stuff like that. This white man has constructed this idea of what space and all this stuff looks like, and it might just be something very, very simple. It might just be something extremely simple, like Jose mentioned, the folding of time, the folding of space that cuts down the distances in space and all that. It might be something very simple. It might not look like Star Trek or Star Wars. We have to open ourselves to those possibilities. But without further ado, Oni, is there extraterrestrial intelligent life on Earth?
Yeah, I highly doubt it, but right? I highly doubt it. The more I listen to people, the more I'm realizing, it just sounds ridiculous. The idea of these extraterrestrials, how many are there? Because when Buana was saying earlier about how many parsecs or how many light years you have to travel in order to get to Earth, you would think there would be a whole bunch of them. You know what I mean? You would think, now granted, not everything reproduces like we do, but in order to travel here, assuming they're not traveling faster than light, because you really can't, right? But assuming they're not traveling faster than light, right? They're taking, thousands of years, right? In that amount of years, they should be reproducing, right? Not just that, if we believe that, like Sister said about the Dogon and so forth, if we believe that aliens were here thousands of years ago, are they reproducing? What are they doing that they just kind of visit the Earth and pick up people occasionally and then put the people back down? Where does that even make sense tactically? A lot of it is you can kind of tell it's just ridiculous, because it's what are they doing? Why are they waiting around the Earth? Why can't you see them on telescopes, right? But when you can't see them on telescopes, why is it that you could see them with your naked eye when they visit? You know what I mean? Like nothing about it really adds up.
I don't understand that part. Can you repeat that part? Can you explain that concept? Because I'm not understanding that one.
About not seeing them with telescopes?
Yeah, not seeing with the naked eye and all that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because sometimes, people, allegedly people can see them when they are in the atmosphere, right? So the assumption is that if they're, all right, so space is huge, right? So they have to travel to Earth, right? But if they are traveling to Earth, if they're constantly coming back down to Earth or something, right? They have a reason for being here, right? What reason do they have for being here? The speculation is, well, maybe they're going to give us some, light shows or some flying shows or something. I don't know. But maybe they're trying to pick up people and, so on and so forth. Or other people say they taught us some stuff. A lot of it is just, what are they doing? And if they are doing something, their ship, and probably a whole bunch of ships, are surrounding the Earth.
But we're assuming that Earth is important to anybody else.
You said I'm assuming that?
No, I said that. No, I'm saying that conceptually, as humans, we think, aliens will come visit us and do all this stuff for us as if we're that important. We're only important to ourselves. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
we could be the equivalent of a raccoon in a garbage dump. You know what I'm saying? And they just look at us like, oh look, it could go rabid, so let's leave before it attacks us. You know, like we may be nothing or nothing significant in their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole point. So it's like, why is it that we, like, you know, because, you know, if you see the map of, you know, observers of quote unquote aliens, you know, it's like Americans and Europeans. But like the idea is that why are they seeing these aliens only when they're in the stratosphere?
Can I interject here real quick?
Yeah, man.
Real quick. I think in a funny way we're having, I think there's two conversations here. A hillbilly in Europe or America talking about they were abducted and anally probed. I don't put much into that. But I'm talking about me personally, I'm talking about the possibilities. Right? So I just want to make that clear. What I'm talking about personally is the possibility of things. I'm not really going by what a crazy cracked out meth head white boy here in America or in Europe is talking about. But continue.
Oh yeah. Oh, you look like you snuck up on Earth. What? But anyway, so yeah. What I'm saying is that it's just the rationale behind it's like, yeah, I think that extraterrestrial intelligence is a thing. I think that because the universe is huge, like huge. So obviously innumerable planets. The only thing is, are they visiting Earth and have they stuck around Earth, right? Long enough for us to observe them in different eras of human history, right? The question is, why would they stick around Earth for thousands of years, right? And just be completely disengaged. You know? Like where were they during the Roman Empire? Where were they during the ancient Egyptians? Where were they during during Darticket? Where were they during the Hatufan era? Like, where were these things? Why is it that they only seem to engage the United States of America? You know what I'm saying? Why and how do they know, hey, let me go engage the United States of America? And then on top of that, like it just becomes why, you know? The technology.
You ever consider that Black people could be aliens?
That Black people can be aliens? Well, the thing is, Black people Black people are the ancestors of all the other people on the planet. And not just that. So it's like if we were the extraterrestrials, then like everybody else is the extraterrestrial too. So it really just
not necessarily. I mean, white people lie so much about so much basic things. You know, we look at the world through what they have told us. So supposing we were here, we were brought here, and that's why you were enslaved, because you weren't cooperating with them. I mean, come on, the Europeans are Stone Age people. They literally had to use Black people to become better, to live longer, to eat better. Like they had to come to other people to exist better. So I mean, it's just concepts because we don't know the truth.
That's the thing that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so in order to travel that far, the technology that you need is far more advanced than the technology of today, and far more advanced than the technology. And today's technology is far more advanced than the technology that actually enslaved us. So essentially, that would mean that we were this technologically advanced people 200,000 years ago, who left no evidence of this technology, right? But somehow 200,000 years later get caught up in slavery by some people who were
we had lamps, we had batteries, we had what they will call modern things today. at that time.
Come again?
We had modern things today at that time. Remember when you look at the history in the Middle East and Africa, people had toilets, running systems, the concepts of batteries and all this stuff.
No.
Yeah, and then they acted like it didn't exist, and then they acted like a European invented this stuff after. So those things might have been the technologically advanced things compared to Europe. The rest of the world was more advanced.
Well, all right. There's two things to it. One is
and then they took these things and put their faces on all this stuff.
Yeah. So there's two things to it. One is that they are like, those are not spaceships, right? That's one. The other thing is that people are alleging that they still see spaceships today. So it's like, it just wouldn't make any sense that it, like, let's say black people were aliens, right? That would mean that the aliens that have spaceships and have the ability to travel across the galaxy, right? They are the same demographic as us, but they're just kind of sitting by while we are completely unaware and unconnected from them. For what reason?
Because we became corrupt, like the Europeans. It's almost like we caught a virus, which is the Europeans. So why would they take us back? But again, it's all hypothetical.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think it's hypothetical. I feel like it doesn't make any sense. Honestly,
I want to chime. I want to chime in just a little bit here, just a little bit. Because maybe I'm on this Guinness, and I hear the conversation that I'm hearing. But let me say this, because Barbados making statements, and so did Jose. So I feel like I have a right to redress and ask these brothers and sisters questions. And these are only questions. These ain't meant to attack anybody on what they believe. I just want to make that clear. So the statement is on Sirius B. That's the first thing. In terms of the people, I forget the name of them now. Forget the name of them.
The Dogon.
The Dogon people. Okay. So now I have to ask, since these people are from Sirius B, why don't they do Sirius B things? Like, wouldn't they bring some Sirius B food with them? Are they hungry for Sirius B food? Do they want to get Sirius B food sometimes? Why, when they have children, why do they do things like human beings, like, women sleeping with men in a human act of sex to create children? Why they don't do like a Sirius B act? What do the Sirius B people do, and how do they perform the act of sex to create children? I don't know how that is.
But you're thinking again like Star Wars. I mean,
maybe I am. But I have to ask a question though, Barbados. I have to ask a question, because when you say that these people they say they came from there, right? They say they came from, no problem. Yeah. I want to see in terms of their culture, their food habits. I feel like they're doing a lot of the things that's similar to the people in the other African places. Why are they not doing things that's similar
when in Rome
to the Sirius people? When in Rome, okay, that's the answer. No, that's the answer. No problem. I'll accept that. I'll accept that. So I'll move on to Jose's question, because you answered. You say when in Rome, and I could accept that. That's the answer. So for Jose's question,
but let me say something right quick. Let me say something right. See, this thing about aliens and all that, man, they've been talking about this forever. Some of the Dogons say they come from Sirius B. White people and Arabs and ran them crazy too. I know they the Dogons and they can be admired or whatever. Man, look, ain't nobody seen nobody from out of no space. And like I put in the chat, white people put their face on everything. So she done put black people face on the aliens. Come on, man. If it's just something you ain't seen, like me, okay, this is just me. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't believe it. I ain't never seen them. So then when they come, whenever somebody say they see it, it's always one at a time. Like Oni say, come and pick somebody up and drop them back off. It's always one at a time. It's always just like Moses went and talked to some fire at the bush. Man, you go through the Bible, you can see a whole lot of this stuff too. The unicorns, you can find the people with the 4 faces and the 4 wings and the 8 legs and all that stuff. And they came down in a whirlwind, and they did the same thing in the Bible they did today. They came down in a whirlwind and they picked somebody up and took them off in the whirlwind, and they wouldn't see no more. Man, I just think people have an imagination that there may be something else out there. And if that's it's okay to have that imagination. Me, and it seemed like Oni, because I was laughing when he was talking, and it seemed like Bawana, we don't have that imagination. That there's something out there, or maybe we're concerned.
But it's interesting that you mentioned the Bible, because I was thinking that most people who have a really strong Bible foundation will not think that there's anything else out there. You get what I'm saying? Because for us, we were thought, in 7 days God created man and woman. So nowhere in the Bible did they say God created, some Martians and some other things. So I think when you have a stronger Christian foundation, you are more limited in thinking that there's something else beyond. However, I don't think Europeans are telling the truth about the planets. When Koku said that there's a planet that rains diamonds. In my children's third grade science book, I forget the woman's name, and I remember her name all the time, but right now I'm forgetting it. There is a woman who was hired by NASA who basically gives you scenario planets, and then they claim like it's real. I mean, come on, you imagine how easy it is to be paid thousands or dollars just to say, oh, there's a planet that's like Earth, but it doesn't have water. There's a planet like Earth, but the sky is blue. It's green. There's a planet like Earth. Oh, but dinosaurs still live there, because you can't prove it. So she can sit down and get paid to talk that shit. So yeah, she can say there's a planet that rained diamonds, because we will never, ever, ever know. So I don't think they're telling the truth on a lot of things. And no, I don't believe the Earth is flat, and I don't, but I don't think things make sense. Some things don't make sense. They can't show you the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, but they can tell you about Pluto. I was in elementary school when I read my first book on planets, and I was fascinated. And I remember they said, oh, the sun is one, and they put like zeros. They filled up the whole page with zeros. I turned over the page, and they had more zeros to tell you how hot the sun was. And at the end of it, they basically said, well, this is a hypothesis. We don't really know how hot the sun is. So when we read books about the planets and the solar system, a lot of it is hypothesis being put off as facts. When you watch TV and they show you planets, if you are not careful, you will miss the little sign on the left side of the screen that says that this is just a photo interpretation of it. So we're looking at stuff that they've shown us over the years and be like, oh, this is it. But a lot of it is just an artist's interpretation, because they literally have no images to show you. Most of it is blurry. Come on, you can't even get a good camera to show you somebody stealing your car down the road until recently with the Ring cameras. Those are like maybe the best we got. They want to tell me that you can tell me what Jupiter? Come on. Huh?
Okay, look, I have an idea.
A lot of it is hypothetical. A lot of the stuff we learn is hypothetical.
But since don't nobody believe, don't nobody believe nothing the Europeans say, even though we repeat a lot of their stuff. Well, maybe we need to start building something to see if we can find the truth.
Yeah, another thing is, like you're saying, I think the problem is that you can't just say, hey, you know what, this guy is lying, so I'm going to lie too. Or this guy doesn't have any evidence, so I'm going to start saying things without any evidence too. That doesn't make any sense. If I say, hey, I think unicorns are real because white man's lying, like that doesn't make any sense. I think dinosaurs are still around because white man's lying. Like that doesn't make any sense. You have to show that you have to show where you have these freaking dinosaurs. You have to show the unicorn. You can't just say, I think the white man's lying, ergo, there are unicorns here. There is a spaghetti monster. Ergo, there are angels among us. Ergo, we are aliens. Like it doesn't, like that's not how it works. You cannot fault somebody for not having evidence, right? And saying they're a liar. They don't.
So everything is hypothetical. Then we work with hypothetical until you find proof.
If you're dismissing this guy, you're dismissing this white boy because he uses hypotheticals, and then you use hypotheticals.
Which white boy?
No, you say the white man. All right, whatever. White boy. You say.
You're talking about him in general. Okay.
Yeah, you're saying the white man uses hypotheticals, and that's the problem.
No, I'm not saying he does. I'm telling you. I'm telling you in my children's third grade science book, because I homeschooled them. The book was literally telling you that there's this woman hired by NASA who basically tells you about all these planets, but they can't even get a camera basically past Pluto. They just did that like the other day. They had to leave the camera to float in space, to free fall, basically. So how are they telling you about other planets? How are they telling you about other solar systems when they basically at that time had no way of even telling you stuff that was within our solar system itself? So how can you not tell me about? they can't tell you what's in our solar system, but they tell you what was in other people's solar system. I mean, like,
Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
the
but what
logic
I'm
isn't
saying
working out.
What are you doing? Like, how is your science better than his? If his science is crap for some reasons, how is your science better? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, first of all, you have to use logic, right? If his
Okay,
science,
why
if he
is your
can't,
logic
if he
better?
cannot see, okay, if he cannot see what's at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, what is he telling me about Pluto that I would need to hear?
I get it, but why are you telling me about Pluto?
I'm not telling you about Pluto. I say it's hypothetical. I haven't told you a thing about Pluto.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you by
say,
my logic.
What I'm saying is, he says it's hypothetical, and you say, "Don't tell me anything hypothetical," and then you come and tell me.
I said let's talk about hypotheticals, because again, if it was a hypothetical, I wouldn't have said black people could be the aliens. I'm saying let's explore hypotheticals because nothing you can prove is real. It's hard to say something is real.
Aliens, if there were aliens.
Hold on. So let's start at that. So let's talk about hypothetical. That's a fair statement. So only say you can't use a white man science. No problem. Let's take him out of the equation. So the Dogon people said that they come from Sirius B, right? Now, I want them to explain to me, not using science, the white so-called white man, because science is science, as far as I can say, but not using that science. Explain to me, how did you come from Sirius B to planet Earth? And so far, all I've gotten is a story.
Yeah.
Well, what they would probably tell you is like a story.
Yeah.
So I want you to take that story and try to put that in a way in which I can apply that and try to attempt to go back to Sirius B. This is the question I have for the Dogon people.
Yeah, I think you go and search to Uhuru. He did a whole interview. It's been a while. I can't remember the details, but I know they did talk about basically stepping through something like, I guess, a Stargate, the equivalent. So you gotta watch it. He did a one-on-one interview in the village. So
yes. No, I did hear, but I want to. Hold on, Brother Bakari, because I gotta get back to this. Because I can't let Jose get away with it. Jose tell a fascinating story, He tell a fascinating story. Only one question I have for Jose, because I am not dismissing the story at all. I ain't saying that has not been his experience at all. Only one question I have, because when you say that you get together with your brothers and this happened, did this happen before you because all of us smoke ganja. So this happened before you smoking ganja or after? That's the only question. And it's a serious question. It's a serious, legitimate question. That's the only thing I would have to ask to that story you tell me. That's it.
So, Joe says hold on. Joe says not on the panel. He's out in the chat. So he'll have to answer that from the chat. I know Real Black Gentleman returned. Let me hear from Bakari, then RBG, and then final thoughts before I close out, all right? Bakari, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. One thing that Oni said, Oni Obawana, when they said ain't no such thing as no white man science. Science is science. We know that white people have lied, but just because they lie, we ain't got to lie. I'm just saying, only thing, and I was reading when Jose said in the chat, the stories that been passed down, right? And I ain't talking about nobody, but sometimes, people tell stories. What you can read what Africans, they also said it was a good way to tell a story using a myth. So because something is passed down and we should just believe it, there's no need to argue. There's no need to say nothing to these people when they say they are the Native American, indigenous, aborigine to the United States, because somebody told them that and their story been passed down. So you see how a story, how a story being passed down, man, and sometimes stuff is just passed down, like shit. I could tell you some of my uncle's story, and like, because all of it, that's what it sounds like to me. My Uncle PC and Uncle Jesse, when all the family together and they just making up stuff and everybody laughing. That's really what it sounds like to me when people talking about they have seen aliens and all that. And when I read the Bible and you go through that, and it's funny to me, like a group of black people got together, because that's what we do, and we talk noise, and we just started, come on, all y'all got somebody in y'all family, an uncle or a cousin or something, y'all get together, gonna have some good stories for the family, especially after they done had a couple drinks, and they gonna be loud while they telling their story too. But y'all know that story ain't the truth. Y'all know that. And that's what has happened here. These stories ain't the truth. White folks done lied. We know that. But we ain't got to start. We ain't got to be the aliens because they done lied about alien and alien technology and put stuff on TV and got people thinking, well, this is what aliens would be like. But Bawana asked an excellent question when he said, so what does people from Sirius B do? And you're like, well, we thinking about TV. No, we're not. They're just like me. I'm from Mississippi. If I go to New York, the stuff we do or the food we eat, especially when I was coming up, the music we listened to wasn't the same music. When we dressed up, we didn't do the same thing. A lot of them couldn't even understand me. So they come down here, step through the Stargate, and they just do everything that the humans from Earth do. They don't do none of their own Sirius B stuff. You know, it's cool what they go.
Well, keep in mind that African civilization was still advanced at the time, so you don't know what they may have contributed towards the progression of African civilization when the Europeans found us. So I mean, it's all hypothetical.
See, didn't nobody find us? We should stop since found us. They ain't found us. We wasn't lost.
No, but I'm just saying that when the Europeans encountered us, then they actually, when they encountered half the other side of the world, people were doing things that they didn't even think of, the basic things like hygiene and stuff like that. So who is to know? I mean, I don't know. It's hypothetical. I'm not going to swear on nothing. I'm just saying it's hypothetical.
All right, Real Black Gentleman, and then after that, we'll give closing thoughts to close out.
Yeah, look, astronomy, I ain't gonna lie, is my fucking wheel well. Like, I get the stars and I get astrochemistry and I get all that. I mean, look, anything I would say about that is speculative and just based off of, you know what I'm saying? The Earth is a place. You know what I'm saying? Like, is life in the universe, could it be like Earth? I mean, if it's a place like Earth, yeah. If it's not, then it'd be something completely different. You know what I'm saying? I mean, biology, revolves around carbon because it's light and it can, it bonds with all kinds of stuff. Carbon bonds with hydrogen, oxygen, you know what I'm saying? Nitrogen, it bonds with, everything. And so the mix has to be right. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you measure, the biology, you measure, the chemistry and stuff on Earth. I mean, it's every place is different. I mean, you gotta have all the ingredients. So I mean, I don't worry about it. I don't think about life. You know what I'm saying? If it happens, it happens. If ET ain't pro-black, ET can go to hell. ET can catch this fire, and if they don't know what fire is, they'll learn. That's all I got to say.
All right. So before I have everyone give their shout outs, close outs, etc., let me just say too that it's cool to have your beliefs, and you don't have to believe what someone else believes, but we should be respectful, especially when the thought is in the realm of possibility. That's my message to you guys. Let's start with Kyle. Kyle, what do you want to shout out this week?
Nothing I really want to shout out. I'll be with you guys next week. We are Africans. End of discussion. We're not no damn aliens. We're not no Hebrews. We're no Native Americans. We're not no Klingons. We're not no Atlanteans. We are Africans. And the sooner we can wrap our head around that, the better we'll be.
I like that. Yeah, we're not substituting ourselves in anything. I appreciate that, Carl. Thanks for coming through. Bakari, what do you want to shout out this week?
First of all, thank you for letting me speak on. Thank you for letting me speak on your panel. It was a good discussion. Look, I didn't mean no disrespect talking about the alien shit. That conversation is fun to me. So I talk noise when I'm having fun. So it's fun to me. So if anybody felt disrespected, I don't know if Jose was talking to me on Bawana in the chat, but if anybody felt disrespected, the conversation was just fun. I didn't see that as I was not trying to be disrespectful. So I will apologize this time, but the next time we talking noise, because I was just talking noise, even with Marcus Garvey is the way when I'm talking about the Dogon, they crazy and all. I'm just talking noise, just having fun. So don't let nothing I said about the alien conversation bother you. Please don't, because I was just talking fun, having some jokes. That's it. But you know what? I'm gonna say this something you were talking about earlier, and I went on here. I can speak, and you say it's propaganda used to divide us or bring us together. It's used to divide us. This is my opinion. It's used to divide us, but we could use that same propaganda to bring us together. We could use it to bring us together, but they want to keep us divided. Like we got people on here from these different places. You know, you got Oni on here. You know, Edie Yellow Jamaican. You from the Bahamas. You and you and Bawana from the Bahamas. I can't remember where Marcus Garvey is away from. I'm from the States. Carl from the States. Azula is scared to come up here when I'm here, but he from Haiti. Jose from Africa, the Netherlands, one of them. But we all coming on here together in a friendly way, having fun. So we could use this propaganda to bring us together instead of constantly arguing about if I'm FBA or ADOS or I'm better than you or down south is better than up north. And that's my take on that. But y'all should check out Our Black Business tomorrow, episode 19. I got to go through, make sure I have all my businesses and stuff that I'm gonna do. But come check me out tomorrow. I give the time 5-ish. I will be there, but yeah, Mind Our Black Business. That's every Sunday. And I talk about black business. I try to promote black business. I do promote black businesses and talk about black businesses. Then I continue to talk about how we need to shut down all of these East Indians and the Arabs and everybody else in our community so we can take the power in our community with community-owned business. Thank you for letting me speak, my brother.
Yes. On Bakari, my little statement wasn't directed at you, just to be clear. It wasn't directed at anyone, actually. It was just a general statement. We don't have to agree on a concept, but we should be, while disagreeing, we should be open to someone else's feelings on that particular topic. I think the thing that offended Jose was the question about the weed smoking. And I got to say, Jose, of course someone asked a question about when it was you saw this shit. If it was before or after. Of course, when I heard you mention weed, I was like, oh, well, there goes that. People are going to say, yeah, you were high and you hallucinated some stuff. So, of course, that happened. But I think that's what Jose was speaking about. He wasn't talking to Bakari. Thanks, Bakari.
I would like to respond. To clear the air. Jose, if I offended you in any way, I apologize. As Koku say that you always, doing some things. And I just was thinking, and that's how my mind works. If I personally offended you about your experience and what you experienced personally, I do apologize humbly. You know what I mean? I come to you as a brother and I apologize to you. It was out of line and it won't happen again. As far as Barbados, I can challenge you on certain days. I mean, you can't get away with certain days, but it's all love, sister. You my sister, and it's all love. But when we speaking, sometimes the conversation could go off. So if I did offend anyone, I truly apologize for it.
Juan, you want to shout anything out while you're up there talking?
Yeah, shout out to everyone who contributed tonight. It was a very good conversation. I learned a lot of things. I learned that our people can think outside the box and they have a right to think outside the box. So, sometimes I need to know when to be quiet, and sometimes I need to know when to speak. So, like I say, again, I apologize for the brother experience. It's no offense towards you and no attack on you, no way. So I just want to make that very clear.
Appreciate you, Buana. I'm trying to find that comment from Afro Native World. I put it up a couple of times, but he mentioned something about talk to the people from Uganda about their story. So Afro Native World, I can't find it right now, but when you have a chance, shoot me a topic, send me a video attached to it so we can discuss it more on the show. Marcus Garvey, is the way you've been gone for a little while. What do you want to shout anything out this week?
Yeah, I shot out the Caribbean because I was there. I had a good time. The ocean is still nice to enjoy while y'all were here. At least, no, somebody's still in the Caribbean, right? Was it Juana? You're still in the Caribbean, right?
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm still there.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be a hater. You still got it every day. I didn't take any offense. I think this is a great spot to exchange ideas, get other people's opinions. So I thought the conversation was interesting. I don't think everybody got to agree. You know, and these are adults. We're all adults talking, so I don't think our feelings should get hurt that easily. Outside of that, yeah, the alien conversation I think is going to be interesting. Is very one of them topics that will always get people think. But once we agree that we're being oppressed, I think that's and the oppression needs to end. I think that's probably the most important thing, whether aliens are here or not, because apparently they're not helping us, and so we got to help ourselves whether the aliens or not. And I think that congratulations, Koku, is another year, and you getting it done. Sometimes there are 10 people, sometimes there are 100 people. I try to listen no matter where I am. Sometimes I can't listen to the whole program, but I try to catch it or catch the playback in the week when I do have time. So it's good to see and hear everybody still here and still doing their thing. So congrats and keep doing it.
Appreciate it. My Skyview is the way. RBG, Real Black Gentleman, what say you? You have anything to shout out this week?
I guess I'll shout out the people in Niger. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, they clearly cleaning house. And I mean, coups and power struggles like that are never like pleasant, but you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you see the people saying that, it's time for a new, you know what I'm saying? It's never opportune, you know what I'm saying? But you want the people to be, you know what I'm saying, to be taken care of. I see what Nigeria doing. Like Nigeria is so fake in a lot of ways. That's why a lot of people wanted to break up. So my shout out just for the good people in Niger, you know what I'm saying, who about their business, and you know what I'm saying, black power to those people.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming through, RBG. Oni, I think that leaves you. Oni, what do you want to shout out this week?
Hey, let me just say quickly. I think the whole conversation kind of went on a tangent because we were talking about the American who killed, who found the ship with a non-biologic in it, and I think that was obviously a lie. But tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about, how Europe underdeveloped Africa. It's a pretty cool series. It's an interesting book. I'm reading it, kind of a deep dive, kind of thorough, but that's pretty much it. And, obviously shout out to KWAZ family. You already know how it is. And that's pretty much the entirety. Thanks for having me on, man. And, thanks for most of the people who came on.
Yeah, no need for the thanks, man. I appreciate all you guys who come through. I think I got everyone just now, right? All right. So with that said, we went a little bit over tonight, but 3 hours, 30 minutes ain't bad. I'll be back next week. Who knows? You might see me during the week. I might pop up on someone's channel, or I might do a episode on aliens during the week. Who knows? Make sure you check out all the other shows. Make sure you check out all the other shows on KWAZ Radio. And until next week, guys, you guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.